Hey, so I won't be recapping a movie called Stay Room. No, I am going to be recapping a movie called Escape Room. Hope you enjoy! There are spoilers in this recap, so beware and take care. The movie starts off in an office, and Ben falls through the ceiling. He then tries to find a code in the room. The title appears. 3 days earlier, in Chicago, Zoe goes to listen to her professor talk, and he asks what the quantum Zeno effect is, and Zoe raises her hand, but then lowers it. They all go to break, and the professor tells Zoe to do one thing that scares her over break. Jason goes to work. Ben is at work and asks his boss if he could be promoted, but his boss says no because of his drinking problem. Meanwhile, Jason's assistant gives him a box, and then Jason leaves to go on break, and his assistant puts the box on his desk. Zoe goes to her building and everyone is partying, but she just goes to her dorm, and her roommate asks if she's sure she doesn't want to go to her parents for Thanksgiving, but she declines, so the roommate leaves. She has a flashback, but it was a dream she wakes up from? Her roommate asks her if she's okay, and she says yes. While she leaves, a package for Zoe is at the door. It's from her professor. Ben sees the puzzle box. Jason goes into work and sees it. Zoe figures out the first bit, and Ben just gets frustrated and hits it and throws it, but it ends up working. Jason watches a video on it, and Zoe figures out more of it. They all figure it out, and they get invited to go to an escape room. Ben is the first to arrive and smokes before going in. Amanda goes in, and the desk clerk asks for her ID, and she gets in the elevator. Then Danny comes in. The desk clerk took her phone, and Danny brought an extra phone. They get off the elevator and join Mike, Jason, and Zoe. Ben walks in, and Amanda reads the newspaper, and an article says, "5 burn alive." Danny says all the escape rooms he's done, and Ben goes to smoke while the games master finds a parking spot. But when he turns the knob, it breaks, and Danny says it looks like an oven dial. Everyone starts looking for clues, and Amanda notices all of the magazines are addressed to the same guy. Zoe activates a giant oven basically by turning the dial to 451. Ben throws a plastic fire extinguisher, and Jason slams the phone down after a recording tells him to follow all the posted rules, and it gets hotter in the room. Then Zoe figures a way out, and she presses down on the coaster, but when she lets go, their exit closes, so they all push on them, and Jason, Mike, and Amanda leave, and Zoe has an idea, which is to fill up glasses of water and use them as weights to keep the door open. Amanda has a panic attack, and Zoe tries to calm her down. They are out of water, and the room is about to burn them when Ben takes out his flask and empties it into the glass, and they go on to the second room. They're in maybe a cabin and need a 7-letter word to unlock the door. And the clue is, "You'll go down in history," and Ben has a flashback to when his friends were drunk and he crashed the car and was singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. He says the code is Rudolph, and it worked. They walk out, and it's very cold, and dropping. Danny figures out it's still a room, and cold air comes through vents after Danny touches the wall. They look for clues, and Jason finds a door with a lock. Amanda finds one jacket, and Ben walks and falls in a hole, which turns out to be a fishing hole, and Mike finds a fishing pole. Zoe follows a compass and finds a magnet and sticks it onto the end of the line, and they pull up a block of ice with a key in the middle. They try to break it, but it doesn't work. And Jason says that they need Ben's lighter, so he tosses it, but it doesn't reach the group, so Danny goes to get it. Danny falls through the ice and he died. They all put their hands on the ice. Jason has a flashback to when he and his friend were on a boat, I think, and his friend had on the exact same jacket. They got the key and got through the door and go on to the next room, which is a pool room. The phone rings and music plays. Then it stops and a piece from the floor falls. They basically play musical chairs. Zoe sees a clue, a giant sliding puzzle, and she solves it. But the code doesn't work. They play a round of musical chairs. Zoe falls and has a flashback to the plane crash when her mom died. Zoe figures out the code, so Amanda tries it and it's right. She goes across the room and the 8-ball falls out of her pocket and onto the floor. Amanda falls and dies. They go on to the next room and they all tell stories about what happened, and Mike finds a clue, which were x-rays, and it says EKG in sign language. Meanwhile, Zoe is smashing cameras so no one can watch them, and Ben tries the EKG machine, but it doesn't work, so Mike tries it, but it fails, so Jason uses a defibrillator to make his heart rate faster, but he accidentally killed him. Jason realizes something and does it, and lowers his heart rate, and it works, and the door opens. Everyone except Zoe goes through, and Jason and Ben go in the next room and open a hatch, and they get a weird substance on their hands. Ben finds the antidote and takes it. Jason dies, and Ben goes on to the last room, which is the office, and needs to find 4 numbers. He gets out, and the Games Master strangled Ben. Zoe tells Ben that she had found the location of Minos, and if Ben was coming with her, and he said yes. A trial run happens, and it's another escape room designed for Zoe and Ben. The end.
Let's play again.
I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with friends because it means the world to me, and I'll see you next week. Bye! But it was a dream. But it was a dream she wakes up from? Jason goes into work and sees it, which turns out to be a fishing hole, and a piece from the floor falls.